You're watching Newsboost. I'm Chris Marshall. On the programme tonight, Parliamentary Ghost speaks exclusively about his new role in the Cabinet. Large tree remains in park despite death threats from council. Housing estate still there, says Bishop. And new hat tax minister under attack by hat tax activists. But first, the news. The government crisis over leaked memos continued today with a startling exchange of words in Parliament. The Prime Minister was left red-faced after the Leader of the Opposition accused the government of corruption. Our reporter Kevin Hill is in Westminster and joins us live. Good evening, Kevin.
It is rather, yes.
Glad to hear it. What can you tell us about the debate in Parliament today?
Well, earlier this morning, ministers entered the chamber of the House of Commons.
That's the one with the green benches, right?
That's correct. The House of Commons uses green not only for its benches, but for many other elements of its internal architecture, also for the lines on its notepads.
How long has that been the case?
It's difficult to tell when the tradition started, however there are records dating back suggesting it's been this way for at least 335 years.
Fascinating. Carry on.
Well, members proceeded to sit on the aforementioned green benches. Then, at 12:30, the Prime Minister stood to begin speaking. He held some papers containing printed words, believed to be briefing notes, but could have been some pre-prepared speeches.
Were they printed in green?
It does look like we'll never know.
Makes me quite sad.
Me too. So after that, there was loads of talking, and then, as you say, the Prime Minister was left red-faced when the Leader of the Opposition accused his government of corruption.
Kevin Hill, thank you.
Pleasure.
We turn now to world events and the growing crisis engulfing the World Wildlife Fund, which finds itself at the centre of an international diplomatic crisis. Governments from around the world are accusing it of complacency in light of the growing panda threat. Joining me now to shed some light on the matter is our monochromatic creature correspondent, Kevin Hill. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening.
First of all, how did the WWF find itself in this situation?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, the WWF used the panda as their logo. The reason for this being the panda is endangered and likeable species, and it does help with fundraising. The money that comes in from this fundraising is then put into projects to help animals such as the panda.
To most people, that will sound like reasonable activities for a body like the WWF.
Yep.
What went wrong?
Well, an investigation by PVP journalists has found this is actually a sham. The WWF are raising money to help the pandas, and it's been put into a very successful panda breeding project. However, the problem has come when the pandas from this project have not been released back into the wild. They have in fact been stockpiled like old socks in a warehouse just outside Beijing. The Panda League, who represent pandas everywhere, have discovered this and are now freeing their angry comrades. The disgruntled throng of pandas now marching on Beijing has put the city under threat, and local security forces have been put on high alert.
I'm at work, I'm on now, alright? So I've got to go. Okay. Alright, yeah, love you, bye.
Finished?
We know that governments now want to see action. What is going to happen next?
Hang on a minute. The WWF, clearly embarrassed by the situation, are issuing anti-panda propaganda around Beijing. This appears to contradict their previous position of being pro-panda. International governments have formed a panda pandemic panel, which, after a meeting in Strasbourg, has issued a level 4 warning. What does this mean for us? Well, a level 4 warning means that pandas are passing peacefully from person to person. The next stage would be a level 5. This would involve indiscriminate killing of human life on a massive scale. Thanks, Kev. So it's like that.
Kevin Hill, thank you.
Cheers.
Earlier today we spoke to the head of the Panda League, Ian McIver.
Look, we simply demand our share of the royalties. This is a fair and civilised request to the WWF to be given what is rightfully ours. Unfortunately, their attitude is uncooperative. We are prepared to slaughter millions of innocent humans within days if our demands are not met.
Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the Queen has already been moved to safe storage in a big cave in the Cotswolds. Now to events and music, where beleaguered record companies find themselves facing reduced income on yet another front. Micro-videos are all the rage, and company chiefs say it's leaving them out of pocket. Kevin Hill reports. Deploy!
Elgar House, home to the Performing Rights Society, or PRS. These are the people who collect royalties on behalf of record companies and crack down on those who try to avoid paying. Now, they face a new threat, the micro-video.
It came to me in a flash. It is très simple.
All these years, the most fashionable music videos have been the longest.
For many years now, the most revered music videos have been the ones that gave you more than a song. They had movie-style action at the start, or bring extra speech or sound effects to the original track. Michael Jackson's Thriller video was more than 2 hours in length and had a dance sequence that involved the entire population of South Dakota. Christophe Michel has been producing music videos for almost 15 weeks and is credited with starting the microvideo craze.
I thought, qu'est-ce que c'est? In the modern world, we must save time, so I make my videos short. Mon récit is the shortest video on tout le monde.
Why is the Morrissey video so short?
I wanted to make the shortest video I could, so I chopped this song down to the shortest, most memorable part.
It doesn't even include the whole song title.
You think I don't know this?
Chris Marshall works for PRS and claims that microvideos are damaging his clients.
Yeah, well, what we're finding is that with music video royalties being calculated by duration on screen, these micro videos are reducing our income to just a few pence. Obviously, there's more of them being shown, but music channels are padding them out with more presenters and adverts, so it's very much a net loss for our artists.
The irony is that artists are clamouring to have these fashionable microvideos produced. They're great for their street cred, but bad for their bank balance. Are you depriving these artists of a living?
No. This is complete grand mal. My role as producer is to create a video that makes a song stick in the mind. Whether or not it makes money is not my concern. I just make the glue that sticks a song in your mind. Glue is strong because it is made of horses, and in the same way, my videos are strong because of my creativity. I am effectively made of horses.
So it seems the revolution, dubbed by some Music Video 2.0, is here to stay. The question now is whether flagging record companies can turn it to their advantage. Kevin Hill, Newsboost, in Streatham, with a news story on your television.
You're watching Newsboost. The Scottish Parliament has today ruled that flat-headed screwdrivers are a breach of human rights and must be phased out within 5 years. Kevin Hill joins us now live from our Scottish studio. Kevin, what did the statement say?
Well, it's been a long, drawn-out case, Christopher, but in making this ruling, the leader of the Scottish Government has said that, due to their tendency to slip sideways while screwing, flat-headed screwdrivers are a menace to society and should be replaced with a more stable cross-headed design.
What does this mean for people at home in Scotland?
Well, there are estimated to be lots of flat-headed screwdrivers in Scotland, and I would imagine they will all have to be replaced.
You imagine?
Yeah.
What do you mean you imagine?
Well, I imagine that to be the case.
This is rather vague, Kevin. Surely there's some more substantial information available.
No, not at this time, no, there isn't, no.
You've forgotten your notes again, haven't you? Just admit it and we can finish this.
Okay, I forgot my notes.
Right, here.
Thanks.
So I imagine you can carry on?
Aye. The new legislation means that flat-headed screws and screwdrivers must be removed from all Scottish fixings within the next 5 years. It is likely to cripple the flat-headed screwdriver market worth an estimated £100 million a year to the UK economy.
I would imagine that flat-headed screw makers could be retrained to make cross-headed screws. I imagine.
Are you taking the piss?
Why would you imagine that?
Are you taking the piss? Because if you are, don't do it on the other end of the bloody country. Do it to my face.
So, anything to say, you silly Englishman?
No, I'm sorry, alright? I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. Kevin Hill, thank you. Today marks the 35th anniversary of 1974. All of us remember that year for different reasons, but for many, the most memorable event that year was when an elderly gentleman pottering about in his garden shed in Plymouth stumbled across the recipe for 1975. Today, a grand 1974 parade was held through the centre of Plymouth to commemorate the achievements of the man who gave the world the midpoint of the 1970s. Children released 19,075 balloons, each of which carried a card reading, "Please don't forget that Plymouth exists." Disaster struck just after 3 p.m. when Tesco ran out of commemorative hats, causing a scuffle in aisle 3, which rapidly turned into a city-wide brawl. Police have so far confirmed that there have been 15 arrests, and the rioting is expected to continue into the early hours of the morning. City Mayor Peter Windward has been airlifted to safety. Time for sport news now, and an exciting new event will be taking place tomorrow at Wembley Stadium. PBP Sport Boost's Kevin Hill went down there earlier today to take a look.
Hi, I'm here at Wembley Stadium, which tomorrow hosts London's first ever World Scuba Diving Championships. Behind us, the stadium is being filled with water, which will hopefully reach the top by early tomorrow morning. One of the contestants hoping to make waves is Chris Marshall, world number 2. Chris joins me now. Chris, what exactly does your sport entail?
Well, whittled down over the last few weeks in a series of heats, so we're down to 32 finalists, so it's a pretty tough race.
And is it a race?
No, that was stupid. It's a scuba diving competition.
Right, so what exactly will you be doing tomorrow?
Well, the referee stands on top of the arch up there and drops a rick down.
Drops what, sorry?
He drops a rick.
No, sorry, not getting that. Take the silly pipe out of your face.
He drops a brick down.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So he drops a rick down into the solid stadia, and then we all take it in turns to go and get it, and the one who gets it fastest is a winner.
So it's an awful lot like a race then, sir?
No, it's more a time trial, and you have to get the rick.
Not like a race, though.
No, it's scuba diving.
Whatever. Kevin Hill, PvP Sport Boost, Wembley, with some sort of sport interview, loosely.
Now, if you play the lottery, you might want to keep hold of your ticket. The National Lottery has been thrown into confusion after tonight's draw brought up some unusual results. Camelot have frozen this week's game, and they say they haven't yet decided whether to conduct a redraw. This week's numbers, in case you missed them, are 14, 32, 168, a red triangle, Brian Blessed, Norway, and bonus ball F. Camelot have confirmed that they're investigating the possibility that the balls may have been tampered with. Well, speaking of numbers, let's speak to our numbers man now. Kev Hill is here with the business. Kev.
Thanks. Now, a particularly bad day for pounds everywhere. Flange Hammer Industries has reported a downturn of 5 over 5. That's 5 to 5% 5. Litres are up 5 points against the gallon at the close of trading today, and a surprise merger between centimetres and yards will see both units made the same length within 5 months. 5 of Germany's Big 5 companies reported losses of €5 million at 5 o'clock this morning in 5 separate press conferences. The European Minister for Numbers is considering a plan to provide the companies with 5 aid packages. And a look at today's markets. The Ducky was down 5 against the Whoopsie. The pound rallied well, climbing 5 places against the dollar. And the Banjo fell 5 places overall. In summary then, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, £5.5.
Chris. Thanks, Kev.
Pleasure.
Now let's take a look at the weather with Chris Marshall. Hello. The outlook for tonight and the next couple of days, well, let's take a look, shall we? Starting off in the far north of Scotland, the west coast and Ireland, and across into Aberdeenshire and the Grampians, and moving down into the central belt, Aberdeen and Glasgow, even into the borders and patches of northern England. In the northeast of England, to a lesser extent in the northwest and Lancashire, and very much across Yorkshire, we move down into Lincolnshire and East Anglia, further down still into the southeast, London, the southwest, even to the very tip of Cornwall. The story is much the same across South Wales, Mid Wales, North Wales, the West Midlands and the East Midlands. That'll be true of tonight, but also you'll find into tomorrow morning as well, when it'll be lighter too. Highs of 10 to 12 degrees, lows of 12, perhaps even as chilly as 10 overnight. And if we take a look at the rain density slab, you can see a total saturation there of 10 in every 50. That's 14 over 9, so actually quite a dry day ahead of us. Chris. Thanks, Chris. A quick reminder, you can catch up on all the latest news, including everything you've seen tonight, at our website. That's at pbp.com/NEWSBOOST. And then press return. We're back at the same time tomorrow for another edition of PBP Newsboost. I do hope to see you there. Till then, good night.